Fugue in Red, 1921. A watercolor painting on paper and cardboard. On a black background, circles, triangles, squares, and a variety of asymmetrical shapes multiply in a gradation of different shades between white, red, and transparency. What is a fugue? A fugue is a type of musical piece that can be broadly defined by two specific qualities. The first is that it is an example of a polyphonic piece of music, meaning that it has two or more voices that are simultaneous yet independent. The second is that the music progresses by imitation. One voice introduces a short phrase, which is imitated by another voice, and then another. Each imitation starts at different timings and pitches. Paul Klee's deep connection to music is evident in the musical motifs found in several of his artworks. Yet he also produced works that have titles that are musical but in the technical sense. If you only looked at the title and not the actual artwork, they could appear to be a piece of music. Polyphony, rhythmic, harmony of the northern flora. Let's look at Fugue in Red again. How do the shapes behave? Why do they repeat in a parallel motion? Why do some overlap, yet some don't? Is there a direction in how the colors are changing? Are they materializing into clarity or fading into obscurity? Throughout his career, Klee examined the connection between music and visual art. During his 10 years as instructor at the Bauhaus, he taught artistic theory and technique in a series of rules that were rooted in music fundamentals. A major breakthrough for Klee was the connection between art and music being temporality, or time. A dot becoming a line to finally a shape is a product of time from the perspective of both the creator and viewer. This is Klee's 1930 painting Rhythmic, a grid of black, gray, and white squares. Notice how the horizontal order of the colors, from left to right, is always black to gray to white. Yet despite appearing to be a check pattern, the squares do not align vertically. The eye is thus conditioned to follow each row from left to right. Klee takes the concept of rhythm, a pattern in time, and visualizes it using repetition. The unevenness of the rows appear to visually imply delay. Although the viewer is not meant to literally hear this rhythm, one can notice the direction, the intentional lack of coordination, and the unique texture arising from this combination of delayed rows. In Klee's own words in 1917, polyphonic painting is superior to music in that there, the time element becomes a spatial element. The notion of simultaneity stands out even more richly. In his 1932 painting Polyphony, there are dots, blending colors, and overlapping layers of squares and rectangles, all independent entities in which their simultaneity within the piece evokes polyphony. Klee recognized polyphony, then an inherently musical concept, as a means to visualize simultaneity of independent artistic elements. In his 1930 painting White Framed Polyphonically, a series of overlapping watercolor layers border a small, white rectangle in the center. The independent multiple voices are the layers outlined in black pen. The simultaneous lies in the resulting variations of shades and shapes produced by the layers. But are these artworks simply images or representations of music? Are they meant to be based on actual sound? Is this what music looks like to Klee? One could say that Klee traded artistic elements just as if they were musical notes or rhythms. It is almost as if, instead of sound, he used visual elements to compose music. One cannot hear the rhythm, harmony, or polyphony, yet we can definitely see, feel, and respond to it. Even in works without explicit references to music, Klee's musical treatment of lines, shapes, and colors became a signature of his style. Klee's style not only developed modern art, it also offers a new perspective on the musical experience. One can express themselves musically without an instrument or voice. And one can receive music by listening not just with their ears, but their eyes, entire body, and mind. Paul Klee's instrument was not just the violin. Art was also his instrument, a means to establish his musical identity. But why did he ultimately choose that path? Why didn't he pursue a musician's career, despite music and violin being his passion? Something must have led him to believe that polyphonic painting was superior to music. What happened? Could Klee have envisioned a future in art that he could not see in music?